What it do as we test the sound? Okay, it does work. It's like I had to refresh the stream on my end to actually see or actually listen how bad I sound. All right, Obfuscate stream 625 resume site part 5. This will be a review. I was able to really quickly get the site finished today. I uploaded it to the repo, and what I'll do is I'll go through what I did with some of the config file itself and how all that's structured. It's a pretty simple just hydration of data. So I'll let me just connect to the server on the back end here. For our picture today, looks like we have a little bit of snow, little winter feel here outside of a castle. But this person looks like they have like a modern backpack or something. I don't know. Those are definitely modern colors, that's for sure. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I saw some other pictures I didn't really like. I do like how they use like these textures here, or it's like it's a shape, but it's not fully like filled or anything like that. It's kind of like just I think it's a brush that does that. I think that I like that look to it. But yeah, this is really nice. Let's go ahead and didn't get a video out today. I do have a plan for a new series called The Breakdown, probably, or the Red Pill Breakdown or something like that. Kind of going over like it's gonna be a short series, probably about 3 videos or something like that. Kind of like a Timber Week deal. But I'm gonna go through it and break down music and like one song from SCA SZA. Like actually maybe 2 songs, but going about like looking into the things that influence our environment, that influence our women, and then also things that influence relationships as well, and how we actually are a detriment to our own relationships. So that should be pretty fun. Although it's going to be, a man looking at what women are doing and how we interact with relationships. This can also be applied to men easily. I don't want to do the whole, it's both sides. I want to focus on, hey, this is what the women are doing. Just as a MGTOW, just a MGTOW red pill person, and looking at the behavior of women in our environment and how we as men can interact with women, not to our detriment, not as a negative or a liability to us, but something that could be a net positive or a net neutral or a neutral. So something that doesn't, at the end of the day, totally screw us over. Can't be too sure about that, of course, like shit happens, man. It just does. You can't be perfect. It just is what it is. All right. So what we're going to do here, let's show off our resume site. One thing I did want to do, and I just got to move on from this project and get back to the financial asset tracking spreadsheet stuff. Actually, I do want to show that too, but let's see if I have that somewhere. Okay, cool. I'll show that here in a second, but some pretty cool stuff in terms of like some investments that I made this week as well. And I want to start, putting that into an app. So with that being said, we got we got the resume here. This resume, I was thinking about like this download CV. I almost wanted to make it a link, but I was like, nah, screw it. If somebody wants to do that, they can do that. They could just turn this into an actual link as opposed to a link, instead of a link to a file, just link to a web page or something like that. I don't think it'll be too hard. Maybe we can actually get it done while we're on stream here. Sorry, I just ate some stuff here. It's a bit of the reason why I was late. It's actually a thing about going out tonight in terms of like just go to Applebee's here in town, but I'll do that tomorrow or something, man. I just didn't feel like it was a rough week with a lot of work. Okay. So yeah, my nose is a little bit runny because of that, just the food and everything. I gotta start making my juice again. But yeah, I was thinking about turning this into an actual link or something like that that goes to your actual live resume. So I may or may not do that. Yeah, I may or may not do that. We might do that on the stream because it'd be nice if you could just actually have your resume as a Google Doc or something like that, or a PDF that's hosted somewhere. So you can actually, that kind of makes sense to me as well. We went over all this other stuff. All right, cool. So the about me, we went over this. We went over, I took out the pricing section. I always love the colors and how everything changes. That's like such a nice touch to me. Just that randomness and having it be different every time. Also, this resume just looks interesting. It's kind of, this is a great resume for somebody that is getting a UI UX design course, or not course, UI UX design job or something like that. Maybe some back end code, but this is very entry level. I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to quote unquote wow the right people. And I say that not to be like, oh, okay, hey, listen, we went through all this for no reason, but we do have to understand the place in all of this and how to actually really show your worth and what you can actually do in terms of showing off your skills. This does show off your skills a little bit, but it's mainly a template. And then if you use it, I would say, hey, listen, make some changes, make it to where it's a little bit more interesting, or if it's you and things that you like to do, and incorporate that. Maybe I'll even do like a video on Socket.io. That's something that Richard Dixon actually gave to me and gave to us in our last stream. And I watched a couple videos on it. Very impressed with it, and maybe even build a Socket.io server to where we can actually have it connect here. I did want to connect this to Slack or what is the other one called? Discord, or even some other type of chatbot service. But I just didn't find any that actually looked good and they were really quick. And I just haven't had much time lately. This is the doing the extra work, doing the job is really cut into my extra time doing this type of stuff. And then on the weekends, I do quite a bit of work around the house. I try to devote a lot of time. Maybe this weekend though, I probably relax. We'll see. I'm not sure. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and look at the resume section. Oh, but the GitHub section, this is cool. This is kind of like showing off, okay, hey, we're doing something special here. We're actually getting, retrieving things from APIs, taking that information, and then pushing it onto the page and organizing it, and iterating through arrays and stuff like that. This here, looks like this is the old code. Here we go. So this here, I was able to get this map to be a little bit bigger. I had to use the VH, or in terms of the width, instead of the width being a percentage or a static size, like X amount of pixels, or PX. I actually just use VH for view height, so it's like 55% of the view height. I really wish it would be like the 55% of the div or something like that, but I also don't want to actually do the actual connection or the contact form. In this case, I want to stay away from that. And probably some way that I can actually calculate where it's the size of this div and go from there. That would take some time to do that, I think, and I would have to do something where maybe have like a loading GIF or something like that. Sheed, we here. I see you, brother, man. Appreciate you showing up, man. Even if it's for a second, I really do appreciate you. Oh, as always, guys, I really do appreciate those that catch it live, and I appreciate those that actually watch the playback. I really do appreciate you guys actually even put some eyes on this type of stuff. This isn't always the most entertaining stuff, in our space or on YouTube, but I really do appreciate those that are here, and those that are here that are trying to maybe learn something new. So appreciate you all. All right, so yeah, we went ahead with this contact form. There is a section in here where it is an actual contact form. So let's go ahead and make that show up. So this is the map, and in that map, let's say it'd be 15%, or 50% of view height, and we're gonna take this off. There we go. All right, cool. So like this is the contact form, the contact section, or the contact form, if you will. So I don't want to connect this yet. I'll probably do that a little bit later. I'd have to build some type of API behind it. That would probably be impressive if you did something like that, or connect it in some way, shape, or form to a service where you can actually do contacts or get information from this form and send it to a backend, email it to yourself, and things like that. So that would be something that's nice. So guys, think about that in terms of like improving it. All I did is just do a D none on this div here. So on that div with in the class of so this is block dash title space D dash none, and that's a Bootstrap class. And with Bootstrap, you can do a D none for display none. So I don't want to display this at all. So I'll go ahead and put that back. But it's there if you guys ever need it or anything like that. All right, cool. So yeah, it just shows that. So let's go over to the last and final thing, the resume. Now I filled this out. I just used some of my information here in terms of like, this is actually from my resume. If you ever downloaded my resume, and guys, don't copy this type of stuff. Like, do your own stuff on here. People will find out. I'm exposing myself a little bit, but I really don't care too much, you know, like, I don't think it'll really get my identity stolen or anything like that. But that is the risk once you put things on the internet. But for my education, computer science and associates of art, putting these things together, this is just an array of JSON objects. It iterates through this and then fills in each one of these points here. All my certificates, these are my actual certificates that I have, that I actually have kept up to date. So, I got my CCNA. I took that back in December of 2019. CompTIA A+, Network Plus, Linux Plus. And was there anything? Yeah, I think that's it. I didn't get Security Plus or anything like that. And IPv6 certified Sage level or Hurricane Electric. That's like a free cert. You can actually go to Hurricane Electric and get that done. In this case, what I did, which is something that's pretty cool, if I inspect this element, where's that? There we go. I never did this before. So what I wanted to do is, just in case you didn't put a picture in here or something like that, and I've never used this JavaScript function or this JavaScript event, which is really cool. I thought this was really nice. But what I wanted to do is make it to where if you didn't have an image, it would default to the text for the vendor, which is in this case where it says CompTIA. So that's the actual vendor, right? That gives out the certificate. No, it's not the person. It's not the place that you would actually take the certificate test. Probably take it at some place like Pearson VUE or any other testing facility or site, or that are littered around the country. But I want it to be where it's like, okay, if this logo does not exist, then it should show this right here, where it says Hurricane Electric. And again, that's right here where it says vendor. In the back end, I'll show you how that looks in the config file, or the config object, I should say. So I use this thing called OnAir. I found this on Stack Overflow. I should actually put my source in here, but I totally forgot where it was. So hopefully I can find it later, and I'll put it in the code and upload that change. But really cool. OnAir this, and with the this keyword in JavaScript. So now we're kind of getting into the code here, but with the this keyword in JavaScript, it actually means this element, or it actually has the scope of this element or this item, or even like if it's in a JSON object, it'll be within that JSON object itself. So it's scoped to be local. Now, if you do this for the window, or you put this in the global portion of your JavaScript, so you make it a global variable, or it has access to the global variables or the entire window, if you will, then it means that window, the entire project itself, can be addressed with this keyword. Now, in this case, I use this because the image, the img element that is in this case, that is this, and then dot parent element. So in this case, the parent element is this div here, cert logo, or cert logo. Then I say dot inner HTML hurricane electric. So overwrite all of this, get rid of the image and everything else like that. It literally gets rid of itself, which is pretty cool. Really pretty cool. So I don't know if this will run, but if I like change, yeah, there we go. It did. Perfect. So like on error, it changed it to hurricane electric. So as we can see here, even if you did not put in an image or the image is blank for any reason, I wanted to use a ternary operator to do this, but I was just like, I don't know how that's going to work. And I think that's going to be a little bit too much work, and I don't feel like doing that. I think a ternary operator would have worked here as well. And it would have just been handling JavaScript all the same. But yeah, this is pretty cool where it just changes the name to hurricane electric because that image is actually not found. So the problem I would have had, and this is one of the reasons why it would have been too much work, is I would have had to have done an Axios, Ajax, or XHR request to the site itself, to the for that actual file, just to see if that file exists. And then once I found that that file exists, then I could return and say, hey, listen, the file exists, go ahead and do this. But in this case, by using the img tag and then using the on error event listener for JavaScript, it sees that, hey, on error, meaning on the fact that I cannot find the image that is referenced or pointed to, or that I'm pointing to, or in the source tag or the source attribute. If I can't find that, then that spits out an error. When it spits out an error, go ahead and execute this code. In this case, the code is this dot parent element dot inner HTML equals, the string that I put in there, which is hurricane electric, which is the same as this. So that gives us a nice fallback, if you will. Or you can even have a fallback image, or you can even have somewhat like maybe even like a fallback piece of code or something. I don't know, what's it called? No. Maybe not an image. What do they use? What would I use? These things here. Darn it. These icons, like these font icons, these font libraries. So you can fall back to a font library if you wanted to. All right, so let's go back to that. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. I think I like that, and I'll probably use that a little bit more. This is what I like about doing these code sessions and do these projects and really getting into it, because these aren't experiences that I have to deal with in my day job, even though I get different experiences like working with Azure Blob Storage and things like that, which is actually really cool. And I was able to get that figured out and write some helper functions for it, for the project that I maintain for the job, for my job. So that's really good. But then, it's like little things like this. I don't think about this, like I didn't have, there's no reason for me to think about this. I didn't have a solution for it. So I was like, okay, how can I do this and make it to where it's quote unquote foolproof, so you guys can download this, use it. If CompTIA is not your vendor for your certification, then what is? Is it like ITIL or something like that? I don't know who does ITIL, or the what's it called? What's the other company? Either VMware. Oh man, what's the other company? Palo Alto. Dang, what is the? Is it Palo Alto Networks? Yeah, it's probably Palo Alto Networks. Yeah. Juniper. There we go. If it's like a Juniper certification or something like that, then you can actually have all that there, and that all gets handled in JavaScript. All this stuff gets handled in JavaScript. The only thing that's missing from here is that I didn't put in a description. And don't OD on the description, guys, when you put this stuff. Somebody's got to read this. If anything, what you can do or what can be done is you can truncate whatever you put in there, and at the end of it, just have a link that says full resume here, or download full, or just like have a word that says download full resume for more, or something like that. And that would be kind of nice. So they can see, hey, listen, you worked as in this case, tier 3 support full stack developer. These are all the companies I worked at and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it. And let's go ahead and look at the code. All right. So I do want to keep this. Okay, yeah, let's do split screen. I don't like the fact that this is responsive even at this size, but I understand it. It's cool. It actually looks good right here. Now that I look at it this way. All right, so one thing I did is I changed that link up there. Competencies, I did that. Resume pricing, remember in the resume pricing we have a state. It's on or off. Okay, so resume education. So in terms of my education, we can look at this here. I enter a range here, and my GPA, school that I went to, what I studied, and then of course I can have a description here, but that's blank. And it's nice with the way the code is written that even though it's blank, it doesn't show that, hey, okay, something's missing or anything else like that. So that's a nice thing. In terms of, let's go down to the next thing. And these are pretty simple, self-explanatory, I want to say. I try to make it to where it's like, okay, hey, listen, you got your range, the company name, description, all this other stuff. You have all that there. So, and then it's a whole bunch of JSON objects, and it iterates through those. And we'll get to the function that iterates through those. This here, I had to do a little bit of trickery with this, and you'll see it in the function. But I'll have my skill title. It's always appended, or it's always followed by the word skills. So keep that in mind. That's kind of just hard coded in, and you could change that, but it's hard coded in and it gets colored here too, which is really nice. And of course that color changes on refresh of the page. So that's a really nice thing, of course. I don't know, I get a kick out of that. I always get a kick out of those little those little bits of randomness and stuff like that that you put on a page. All right. Okay. So here we have our proficiencies, and then we have our percentages for our proficiencies. So I had to figure this out and break it down, and just simply because of the way this is written, if I put in the proficiencies, whatever JavaScript runs to make these things, the width of this change, you have to have the code you already have to have the HTML written, and then it renders it once it's loaded. But if you're using JavaScript to go through an array of JSON objects and sub-objects and sub-arrays and stuff like that, then it's going to be a little bit harder to do that. And you have to find, and instead of me trying to figure out, okay, when do I have to run that JavaScript that actually makes these bars change? When do I have to run that? I was like, okay, I'll just automatically add it because I know the element or the style property that it's using. If I go here, clear fix percentage. All I know is that it's the percent. This right here, this percentage is just the width, a styling for width, and that's it. That's all that is. So I can take it down to 40-something%, so on and so forth. And that's pretty nice because we can do things like this and use these little use things like this maybe in another project to where we can see, like we can show that, hey, something is 50%, so on and so forth, and it fills up and then goes back if ever necessary or something like that. So that's a really cool thing. But I had to figure that out, and yeah, it wasn't too hard. It wasn't too hard to figure that out. In terms of this, okay, my knowledges don't show up, so that's not good. I gotta figure out what in the world's going on with my knowledge. Little Ty Lopez deal here. Resume skills. Skills. I must have taken something out. Yeah, it was there earlier. Darn it, I must have taken something out. Let's see if we can fix that now. So one thing about, of course, you know, you deal with your repositories and everything like that. You can always go back to previous changes. So in this case, I'll go to the history of this. I could have clicked on that earlier. Resume cover, binary, so upload just images, resume.js. Yeah, let's load the diff. Okay. All right, a lot of stuff there. I don't think it's actually in here. Index.html, there we go. I think it's in here. And I think I got rid of the knowledges. Okay. Resume skills. Oh, that's what happened. All right, so skills. So the issue is with this resume skills, what I do in this case, what happened here is, what happened here is that this is part of a larger div, and this is just the way that HTML is written. But my resume skills and the resume knowledges are in the same area, or part of the same overall larger div here, which is skills and certificates. So I think all I have to do is just close this. Close this here for my skills, and then for my knowledges. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I just have to close that. It's just not closed, so therefore, so nano index and knowledge, and then I think I just have to close this, because the way the code is written, it actually empties out that div. Anything that's in it gets erased or gets just blanked out. So I think that's all I have to do there. And that should fix it. Hopefully it doesn't screw other stuff up. Yeah, perfect. All right, great. Yay, live coding. I know most of the times I'm doing reviews, but I'm trying to go over that type of stuff after the fact. Yeah, so all I had to do was just close out that div, and I'll upload that change as well. So it iterates through this array here, which is a simple array, and then Ty Lopez knowledge stuff with a single F. And demand. So yeah. And then let's go down to certificates. So with the certificates, I mean, I break all these things down into pieces. So the logo here, the actual title, the vendor, the ID, and then the date. So I put this as the date that I got it. You could put it as a date that it expires if you wanted to, put it out into the future. You know, you'd have to just label it accordingly. So if you wanted to change like that text, so it's like, you could say acquired this, just actually put acquired. So in fact, in my case, I could say acquired, and then refresh. So then we could see that it was acquired December 2019. All the styling is already there for you. It just fills in you're just pretty much filling in the blanks here. And it gives a nice feel, look, makes it a little bit more official because you're using CompTIA and using Hurricane Electric. I found all these PNGs by just using DuckDuckGo to search for them and put that out there. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the last section that we had to really go through. I think we did a lot of good work on this type of stuff here, or on this thing here. And a lot of people can actually get some type of benefit out of that. There's very little that's actually static in terms of like, you know, it's in HT, it's not, it's static in terms of whether it's JavaScript or not or something like that. I think this is the only thing that I actually have to change. So I might go ahead and change that maybe after the well, yeah, you know, let's just do it now. So this here is a couple things. Actually, let's just go to the raw. And what we'll do is we'll make it an array of items, and we'll do this here. We'll put it here. An array, and we'll do resume headliner, and then in there we'll put all our items. I think it's only like 4, right? And then if we go back to the actual HTML here, oh, in some cases what I did is some of these divs are just hidden for the original code. So if you guys ever wanted to go back in there and say, oh, okay, listen, what's the original code for this or that, so on and so forth. Some of these things I actually took out and actually have the original, or I actually just hid and have the original code. So, you know, for those that actually watch this video and go through this and been following the project, you can download the code from GitHub and clone it for your own repository and make changes to your resume. And I mean, hopefully it actually does work. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to be a realist here. This will impress some people, but then they're like, you know, you're not gonna take this to Google. Like Google's gonna be like, yeah, show me your algorithm, and or it's like, oh, this is nice, but you're not a front end or full stack. You're not applying for a full stack developer job. So be mindful of that stuff when you're like applying. And holy crap, I haven't increased the font size, so I apologize for that, guys. Hopefully that helps now. So let's see here. Here we go. All right, so in this case, we'll call this span. So this is a span, so I'll do an ID here. And I'll just what I'll do is resume headliner, and that'll be the name of this here. And I'll take out all of this. And since I need, yeah, okay. All right, so this will take a little bit of work here because on the first one, it has to be is visible, right? As we can see with the class, and all the rest have to be hidden. So we're gonna have to write something for that. All right, and then also hoping that this JavaScript runs. I don't have to do anything with like, you know, running it at a certain time. We'll see how that works. In fact, I think particles.js, headliner. Let's see, the headliner main.js runs. We have to change the order of this and move headliner after resume.js, because resume.js will pump stuff into the div, and then headliner has to run its code and initiate it to make it all look like this. I may not have a problem, but we'll see. So let's go back to the top here. All right, so add an ID to this. Let's just split our screen here. 1, and then We have 6 items. I have 4. So that should be that there. The first one is going to be blank because we don't want anything there. And second one, boom. And we'll just copy and paste from here. Getting all of these items in there. Okay. All right, so we got all our items in there. That trailing. In some cases on this, I actually have the trailing comma. You know, even though there's not another item after it. And, I mean, during development, I'll do stuff like that. It's not the best thing to do. So I'm just kind of getting rid of them here. Okay. Cool. And this resume will have either a link or something else. Yeah, link or something else. We'll do that here too in a second. And that should affect our resume button here. All right, so we have this. So let's go down to our fill. We have our Axios call here, and that is for our GitHub stuff, calculating our age here. And pictures. Oh, there we go. So fill experience, and we're going to, first we're going to define this item. It's on the first page, so I'm going to define it as headliner div. All right, and then from there, what we're going to do for Klondike bar here is, all right, what I want to do here, I also want to be like a little bit descriptive here. So let me just get this. I never did this for our competencies. Fill in. Not spell this wrong this time. It probably is wrong right now. Okay. So it's a standard. I have somewhat of a standard model for this. I mean, there's nothing really crazy about this here. I would say it's just a couple for each functions, and I use for each instead of a for loop because I'm just outputting it, and I don't really have to care so much about the order or having it run before something else runs. That was kind of a question I had posed and to the chat in terms of, and Richard Dixon went ahead and actually looked that up, and I never actually after the stream looked it up. I was just so out of it, I guess. So apologize for that. And what I'm going to do here, all we have to do is we're going to have to reference the actual item within the object. So we're going to do headliner, and we're going to do same thing here, headliner div. Let's get our casing right here. So that's correct. And each time this runs, but first, on the first one, you have to make it different than all the subsequent runs, right? So we're going to have an if conditional here. So if we're going to do if I equals, and I should be length. I should be like 0. So I starts at 0. Now if we did the length, that would start at 1. If we did the length of the actual array. But in this case, I starts at 0. So if I equals 0, then we want our headliner to equal this here. And we are going to choose, yeah, you know, I was going to put in, yeah, I don't even need to do that. I just thought of it. I don't need to put in, like I have an empty item in that array, but I don't need to do that. Sweet. We're going to put this here, and then, and I'll explain what I'm talking about here in a second. Hidden. And then let's fill that in with E dot, and then, or E actually, since it's an array. If it was E dot, that would be like I'm referencing an JSON object. That's within an array, but in this case, it's just an array, or it's an array of items or strings in this case. So yeah, that should be it. Everything else should be hidden. And then in this case, it's 0. And then all the subsequent ones. I'm trying to think. No, I'll keep that in there. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so what I'm thinking about here is, let's make this a little bit bigger because of our screen, our font size here. What I was thinking about here is this resume headliner. I don't need this empty item, because if I just do 0, like if I equals 0, I being the index, if you're using the for each higher order function on an array, you can actually pass it, I think, 3 elements. One is the current iteration of the element, or something that represents the current iteration of the element. In this case, I use E. And then the index of that element, or where it's at within the array. So I use I. And then you can actually pass the entire array itself if you wanted to. I think that's a 3rd item. In this case, I just use E and I, and it should be locally scoped. So, you know, I can use them, you know, I can use the next function, the next for each. It should not affect it. Now, if I have a for each within a for each, then that's where I want to actually change it. So like I use E, and then maybe some other naming convention or something like that. Maybe if I'm doing the competencies or something like that, I use EC or ECP for competencies. So our element competencies. So that way it's not the same as the other E. That's it doesn't inherit the element from the parent for each. But what I was thinking is, you know, this here, I won't have anything, right? Like I wouldn't have anything, and that would be it for the first one. Now I'm only doing this because the other way that I was thinking, if I actually did this, I would actually have to write 2 different lines. So if I take this out, then 0, it would possibly skip over this if I wrote the code wrong, or if I didn't count for that. It would actually skip over this, because this would be in index 0 at position 0 in the array. So trying to account for that ahead of time, I went ahead and took out the I went ahead and just put this here. And I mean, I'm not going to take out the blank here. It's just a good placeholder, and it keeps me from writing less code. But that would be a problem for somebody that doesn't do that. So I don't know if that's good or not. We'll see. So let's see here. Where am I? Okay. All right, so if I equals 0, 0. So what I was talking about is that first item, I would actually also have to write in, I would have this first item here, and if I took out the blank string, I would also have to have another item within this. So let's just do it. It's just so much easier. I'm so sorry. Boom, and then that'll work. It'll do the same thing. Yeah, that'll do the same thing. I don't know if that's a problem, but that'll do the same thing. It's a little bit to me. It's a little bit confusing in terms of writing that. You kind of have to just know what that's gonna do. But what it does is, instead of just having an empty one, I can have an empty one and have one that's filled or that's next up here, and then all the subsequent ones there. And that would actually make for a simpler array. So maybe I'll do that, because I have to think about other people that are using this, and they might be like, why did this dumbass leave a blank one? That's so stupid. And, oh, you know what? I'm going to leave that because I want that blank one there. Yeah, and I'll take that one out. Because essentially, what if somebody wanted to actually have something for the first one? And then I kind of just took that away by putting a blank one here. So, yeah, I don't know. Do I need to do this? Oh, I need to do this? Yeah, I need to. Okay, this is why this makes sense. One of the reasons I do need to do this anyway is because the first one has to be visible. And that's the difference. And all the subsequent ones will be hidden. So that still needs to be there. And it's not an issue. All right, cool. That's fine. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, cool. So let's see here. What we'll also do is, before this, headliner div, it has stuff in it. So let's go ahead and blank it out. So that'll just blank out anything that's within that div once you do a get element by ID. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and refresh the page. Okay, still working. Client-side JavaScript. I don't know if the text changed. I don't think it did. All right, so what I'll do to confirm this is I will take this out. And then that span will be blank. And let's go ahead and do that and see if it does it still. Yeah, cool. So that still works, no problem. I didn't have to initiate any, or I didn't have to call a JavaScript function after the fact to initialize this functionality. I think I used the word initialize there properly. But yeah, so that's it. So that's good. That works. We have our hidden. Oh, look at that. We got two hiddens. Two hiddens. All right, cool. So the reason why that's happening is I need to chain this. So instead of having it just the if it's this, then I need to chain it with an else. And that should fix that. I'm so used to doing guarding and stuff like that. Man, this is so work. Hey man, I appreciate it, bro. I think you said this is so work. I don't know, man. Is that like a local lingo there? Man, but I hope it. Yeah, man. If you guys if you're finding benefit out of it, bro, and you like it, yeah, bro. Appreciate you leaving a comment and everything, man, bro. Oh, this is some work. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is a little bit. And these are like small changes, man. These are like small changes. These are not like anything crazy, but this is one of those things where okay, if somebody really looked at your code and really looked at your front end JavaScript, maybe it would be a good thing to say, hey, listen, use the inspect tool to see my code or something like that. That would be kind of like a nice blurb to put in there somewhere. But yeah, so in this case, yeah, this is some work for real. So if 0, then put this one, else do this. And then that should get rid of our double hiddens here, because we have two hiddens. And that's okay. It's not like I even really noticed it. I mean, it would work Oh no, it's still doing it. It's still doing it. Did I save it? I didn't save it. All right. So let's see here. Yep, there you go. So I got rid of that other one. So sometimes what you have to do is just chain it. So like if it's 0, like it's only going to do that 0 thing once. Sometimes you do your guarding and everything like that, but you don't really need to do your if guarding all the time. I've been using that a lot, so I kind of just defaulted to it. But in this case, chaining was necessary. Like if it was this, then do everything else as the rest, and then it goes through it. So yeah, cool. That's I think that's a nice piece of functionality, and it's also making the whole project dynamic too. And like we definitely want to make this dynamic. So let's go ahead and change this link here too. All right. So how we're gonna do this? We have our link. Let's go ahead and inspect that. So it's an href. In my case, I have this on a Google Doc. So let me just go ahead and open that up somewhere else. Where's my Google Docs? Google Docs. That's where I store my knowledge. All right. So if I have my resume, so what I'll do on Google Docs, I'll create a link to it, and you guys can actually, look at this, use it as the base for your resume. I'm not gonna lie, in terms of my resume, it is very wordy. Like nobody's reading all that shit. I put it there, but really nobody reads it, and you will go through it when you'll have some people that do read it, so don't be surprised when that happens. Or don't be surprised. I've been in interviews where the guy was just like, he's like, I'm just reading off your resume. And then that shows you how much you don't know or how much you forgot, and also how you handle certain questions. One thing a homegirl of mine actually taught me is like, if you don't know something on your own resume, just say, I'm not going to lie, it's been a while since I forgot that. I will have to brush up on it. Just always give them an answer in some way, shape, or form. Be like, hey, listen, I did that a while ago. This is my answer to it for now. This is how I did this. This is how I did that, so on and so forth. So yeah, that is something. Yeah, that is something that. Okay, view done. It's a copy link. All right, that is something that could actually help when you're actually doing or going through one of these things here. So in this case, so I have a download. I have it showing download, so it just downloads automatically. So I'll take that out. Maybe. No, I want that functionality. So what we have to do is we'll have to write some if statements here. Gotta do it. It'd be like that. If it be like that. All right, so in this case, we got our headliner. If I do this, it doesn't have, this A tag does not have a resume. All right, cool. So, or it doesn't have an ID. So let's go ahead and give it an ID. And IDs are such an easy way to, just to target one element. Okay. Download instead. That should be a little bit more unique than the word resume. So in this case, I'm going to take that out for now. ID equals, and then resume. And then I have something that says anything that has a link or something like that, that it will. Oh, actually, I don't have to worry about that. I can actually call this resume link. But I do have something in my JavaScript that actually looks for if the word includes, or if the if the JSON object key name equals link or includes link in the word, then it does something else based off of that. So, but I don't have to worry about that because I'm just going to use the word resume, and then link will just be my ID tag. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. And what we're going to do is also take out this href. So these things will be blank, and we're going to have to fill that with the wonderful, wonderful coding language known as JavaScript to fill in the dynamic pages. All right, cool. So headliner div. In this case, I'm going to say resume link. Maddox, thanks for joining, brother. Appreciate you showing up to the stream, Brian. Kind of just finishing out this resume project finally, so we can get back to the financial asset tracking. If you guys stay till the end or catch the playback, I'll show you some stuff I'm doing with my financial asset tracking spreadsheet. I found a really cool function to use CoinGecko and get the live prices or get prices from CoinGecko in your Google Sheets. So that was actually a pretty cool article, and I'll probably have the link in the notes because I have it in the show notes because I have it on my other computer. That's in my sunroom. So I was thinking about streaming from there, but I'll probably stream from there tomorrow. Tonight, I kind of just wanted to stream from my other desk. It's like, it's like a couple feet away. I got like freaking 2 desks. Oh man. But yeah, so I got some. That's a really cool thing I found. I think the other day or 2 days ago. To get some, and I did a YOLO move. Borrowed some money from mom's, and then I also borrowed some money from the bank, but I could pay my mom back today. But I was like, hey, listen, if you hold off, I'll give you an extra $50 in interest. Because anytime I borrow money from my mom, the standard thing is pay her back 10% interest, and that just keeps it fair. She doesn't really like. She's like, oh no, you don't need to give me anything, Mike. And I'm like, mommy, I want to make sure you have money so I can borrow it again. So anytime I borrow money from my mom, I always take a 10%. I always give her 10% interest back on it at least. But yeah, with that being said, I deployed 12 grand into the cryptocurrency market. That was kind of crazy. I went full dick in the dirt. YOLO move 2, and I'll be making a video about that probably tomorrow. Put that together. Yeah, so we were doing some work, I think. All right, so resume link, and what we'll do is what we're gonna have to do is validate an actual link. So if damn bug. If in this case object.resume. In this case, it'll be resume.pdf. Actually, what I want to do is I'm going to test if it's actual an HTTP link or if it's not an HTTP link. Ooh, how can I do that? Oh, man. Oh, you know what I'll do? Is if it, all right, so there's a couple ways you can handle this, right? But I'm making assumptions here because I'm saying, okay, if it's an actual HTTP link. All right, well, what if it's an HTTP link that is on the actual local server? Then it won't really matter. That's still an HTTP link, and it's not like, say, a file, because I want to add the download attribute to the link. So it just downloads it to your page as opposed to opening it up in the browser. Or I could just say, screw all that and just make it resume, and that's it. Whatever resume is. Decisions. All right, let's just code it 2 different ways. But ultimately, resume will be just whatever the link is. Like that'll be the href for the A tag or the A element or the link element in HTML. But that's ultimately what it's going to be. But we'll do it the hard way. We'll do it the hard way. So in this case, I will copy the link to my resume on Google Docs, and I will actually test that and say, okay, hey, if it's HTTPS something, yeah, there's like no good way of doing this, to be honest. I don't really think there's a good way of doing this. All right, cool. I don't know if Google Docs has a way where it's like you can generate a link that will automatically convert it to a certain font format. That would be like really cool. I thought about it the other day, but I never searched for if that was even possible, or if they have something like that in their API. Because you can convert any of your Google Docs to an actual. Oh, sorry if I am borging out, guys. I just see that. That's another thing about moving to my sunroom location. I actually have that wired in, and I'll do that to this location once I like get this room remodeled. Yeah. Okay. I think it's better. Yeah, it's better now. I just see the little icon, so I don't know if you guys notice any like degradation in quality or voice. So I just want to make sure that was good. Try to keep an eye on like the quality of the stream. All right. So in this case, I can do, if it's a valid HTTPS link. So is valid link. Oh, hyperlink. Perfect. Trying to validate a URL. Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay. I mean this is easy here, but someone mentioned a jQuery validation. I don't want to do jQuery. Function validate URL, text validator, test. Ooh, look at that. .com. Whoa. This person has it all in there, huh? That's a pretty cool one. I think this one, yeah, that one's definitely a winner. It's a winner chicken dinner right there. Let's go to share and get that link. This is a link to that there. I mean, I'm going to do it, but it's just really, I don't really need to do this shit. I really don't. Because it's a little bit too much for too little, I think. So, if anything, let's make this function here. And the reason why I say it's too much for too little is because it's like too much customization. Because what if I have, I don't know how, sorry. Thinking about it, if I have a PDF stored somewhere else, right? And then I do something where I say, hey, if the file is a .pdf, right? Or if the resume, the value in the key value pair for resume, if that value has the letters, or if it includes, so dot includes parentheses, and then insert your string there. So that string could be maybe even have a match or something like that. Maybe I'm not sure, but have some type of regular expression in there possibly, and that would be like a match or a test, or like we'd use test like we're kind of doing now with this regular expression. If it includes PDF, doc, or DOC, DOCX, TXT, whatever, like all these different file formats that are usually what you would have, or that would be the format for your resume. Like, what if I say, if it includes .pdf? Well, I can have a link that includes .pdf in it. Anywhere within that link. It doesn't even have to be the actual file name or the ending file name in the link, right? It doesn't have to be the last thing or the last thing in the URL itself. So that's why it's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, this doesn't really make any sense. It doesn't matter. And I want people to download it per se, but they can just hit download if it opens up in their browser like that. So it's like it doesn't really mean anything to do this, but I want to do it because it's like we can kind of explore the possibilities. And we found a pretty cool function here. So We won't be using it much, but yeah. Oh, crap. But yeah, we won't really be using this though. But it's going to be there. All right, so source, and so if object resume, and what we're going to do is, in this case, validate URL and wrap past that object.resume, which will be the value within that key value pair. So if it is a valid one, the valid, yeah, if it's a valid URL, then again, like, yeah, all right. Let me just do it. Else, all right. Then experts resume link, and then dot href equals object dot resume, and then the other thing that we want to do is resume link dot download. I think I can do this for this attribute and just make it true. I'm not sure. I've never actually had to use a download attribute. I'm kind of basing that off of the checked attribute. So if you have an actual, oh man, what is that thing called again? If you have a checkbox, yes, this is a pretty obvious name. If you ever have a checkbox, you can actually set it to be checked and set that to be true. That's good for when you're filling in forms that are, you're pulling something from a database, and then it shows that something, maybe it's yes, no, or is checked, not checked, what have you, or true or false, whatever you want to store in that database. But whatever it equates to mean that, hey, that item should be checked, then you could say, okay, if this is false, true, or if this is true, yes, is checked, then go ahead and check the checkbox. And that's a big deal when you're dealing with forms that have been filled out by somebody else, and you're retrieving that form or retrieving all the items from that form, and then you're filling that form out for somebody else or for you to view and look at. So it's kind of like a stateful form, meaning that form, the state of that form is saved in your database. And that's just something I actually have to work on, or that I've been working on for like a long time because of my day job and getting that form working. So in this case, yeah, that's it. That's really it. Like, so object.resume this, and then the only difference is it does it each time. So if you validate the URL object.resume, and then if it's, you can write another if statement if you wanted to make it like, all one line or something, but it's better to chain this, even though it's just repeating the same thing. I don't think there's any difference here. All right, cool. So excuse me. Hopefully you guys can catch that. I know this stuff is contagious. All right, let's see if this actually worked. Let's go to our console. No issues with the console. And if I go here, yeah, so it goes to Google Docs. Let's see the item. It doesn't have, it doesn't have the download to it. All right, so that's cool. That works, right? So now if I do this, I want to save this because, and then put it back. And in this case, I'll just do resume.pdf. Now I can actually make that conditional a little bit better, right? Like I can resume.pdf, quote unquote better, meaning that I can add other conditions to it. I can add some ors, I can add some ands, I can add some filters for files, some regular expressions. So those are the possibilities, and that's kind of why I wanted to do it, even though I kind of like moaned and groaned all the way through it. I apologize for that. There's a lot of this stuff is for you guys, but it's just kind of like showing the thinking and showing that I'm trying to think ahead. Oh, let's go ahead and. All right. Okay, so fill in. All right. And I'll show you how like what it'll actually be for me. All right. So competencies. Fill in competencies. This is going to be fill in page. All right. Cool. So. In this case, we've changed it to a .pdf. It should add download to our link here. So, all right, cool. So it shows us resume.pdf. Now let's inspect and see. Yeah, download equals true. Okay, so equals true. Maybe download should equal download. Well, let's see what it does. Oh, okay, cool. Oh no, true.pdf. Oof. Okay, so that's wrong. So let me see. So JS a href download. What was that picture? What is this? Deck 5? It looks almost scary just because it's just nothing in there. Okay, anyways, moving on. Download attribute. So we can see here the download attribute specifies that the target, the file specified in the href attribute, will be downloaded when the user clicks the hyperlink. The optional value of the download attribute will be the new name of the file after it is downloaded. Oh, there's no restrictions or on allowed values, and the browser will automatically detect the correct file extension and add it to the file, img, PDF, text, etc. That's pretty cool. So, all right, cool. We can have fun with that. So in this case, I don't even have to have it to say, it doesn't have to say PDF, but we can have this download say our name. So let's have a little fun with that. We can have that say, yeah, okay. And we don't even have to, and it says we don't have to actually have the file type. So in this case, object full name. So we'll do full name and title. Yeah, we'll make it interesting and add a title. So object full name and then dash. Now with full name, not gonna lie, I don't like spaces in my file names. That's just the Linux side of me, but I'll show you what that looks like. So the object dot resume title. Resume title. Okay. All right. So one thing we can do is we can take out so each one of these, we can do a dot replace. And again, this is just me. I don't like, those things I don't like spaces in file names. So I'll replace them with dash. Some Mrs. Dash seasoning. I'm actually going to be doing like pickled sausages, bro. Like this pickled thing is like is like my country meta. Like that's my new thing. I'm pickling everything out of this mother sucker. Everything's getting pickled. So full name. And we'll keep the caps. I can actually do this to lowercase, and this is just, transforming, your object, or transforming things in your object-oriented program. But yeah, the new thing is I'm going to be pickling stuff. So I might do it after this. I found a recipe online. You got to like actually cook vinegar, which is it's a noxious smell. So, but you got to cut up some onions and all types of other stuff. So I'll be pickling some sausages. That'll be kind of cool. We'll see how this works. And you got to like leave it in there for like 10 days, bro. 10 days. That's crazy. So we'll see how that works. All right. Yeah, I think this would be cool. And yeah. Okay. So I guess it's like, I was moaning and groaning about this, but like now we having fun with it, baby. We're doing some new stuff. We learning new stuff. Let's go ahead and link that in the chat as well. You guys can actually look at that. So that's on W3 Schools there. All right, cool. So, refresh resume, and then if I go ahead and do this here, yeah. All right, cool. So TreeStar Systems. So it didn't do. Weird. It didn't TreeStar System. Wow, that's. Why did it do that? What? What about my full name has weird? I don't know why I kept that one not replace. I don't know if I have to do it multiple times or something. Maybe I need like to have it as like regular expression instead or something. I don't know. Weird. Yeah, I'm not gonna really like trip over that. That's cool. So yeah, TreeStar Systems. And now that I don't know if that replace. Let's look up dot replace. Dot replace. Like all. Oh, this is kind of crazy. Like this is like a goodbye blue sky. So this is like an old school. It's like this is like an old monastery or something, or lost, or forgotten, or decaying civilization. That's a cool picture. Really good stuff on that. All right, cool. I wonder if this actually worked. Oh yeah, it did. It downloaded the file. So replace all. Oh. Okay, the replace all method matches a new string with all matches of the pattern replaced by. So if it's just a regular replace, oh, and this takes a regular expression, which is cool, or it just takes a single thing here. That's really cool. Okay, I mean I usually use replace, but that obviously doesn't work here because this replace only replaces the first item or the first version of that, or sorry, the first iteration of that. The matching string. So let's go ahead and refresh this here. And yeah, there we go. So it got the other dash. So that's really cool. So full stack developer. So that's really nice because then you can see like, all right, if it's your name, my name, Michael Bogle, and then it'll be dash full stack developer, whatever your title is. And then when a person downloads that, they can always see it. They can search it in their computer. So that's quote unquote thinking ahead there. So that's kind of nice. Yeah. And we could still actually have the download link. The only thing is, if, for instance, it's like a document link or a Google Doc link or something like that, it won't turn out too well for you, I think. So we can test that though. cool. So this can be seen. So this is nice. I like it in Google Doc format because then they can do a file and then download however they want in whatever version they want. So that's nice. Gives them that option. They can see it. They can share this to other people. It's not like, you're gonna have to do SneakerNet or new school SneakerNet where you're emailing attachment here, attachment there. You just email the link, and then if you ever wanted to make any changes or anything like that, this is a dynamic document. I can make changes to it. You can see those changes after the fact, right? So that's really cool. And this is a view-only link, so if I open this in a new browser, oh shoot, yep. Where's the link at? Let's go in here. There we go. So you can actually just go ahead and view it and then see it from there. And then if you wanted to download it, you should still be able to have options to download it, print it, do whatever you need to. So that's a cool option. I think I'll just keep that. Because then, yeah, I'll just keep that. Cool. That turned out better than I thought. I'm not going to lie. Turned out better than I thought. And I mean, I take this out, but yeah, I think that's nice. All right, so I think we're going to close this up here for the night. I'm going to eat a popsicle and watch the Demon Slayer movie, that anime. Like that movie came out a while back, or a couple months ago now. I just never got to watch it. So, or actually, never got to watch it, but they're streaming it now on Funimation, so that's pretty cool. I don't think there was anything else that we have to do with this. I think that's it, really. We did make some changes here. This is more dynamic, this is configurable. This here actually works very well as well. Also, in terms of the download link, actually fixed the YouTube link to where it actually shows the list of all the live streams. So if somebody's like looking at it and then maybe I'm live streaming at that time, then it could be like a live interview. Oh yeah, like that. Super sexy. All right, cool. Super sexy when talking about being hired. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for that. Oh, okay. So cool. Let's get to the other stuff. One of the last things I did. So as I said, I made a YOLO move, or a second YOLO move, and one thing I wanted to do, you'll see in the top left-hand corner here. I have a little checkbox. So that is frozen at the top. I made this YOLO move, as I said. This is probably about 10 grand. This is the only thing I'm tracking. I'm kind of learning from my experience with the last YOLO move and how I tracked that and how I had to update it every time I sold out of something, bought into something. I don't want to do all that. Like, I want to track it to where it's like, okay, this is the price I bought it at. This is how much I bought, how much I put in there, even with, including fees, because there's fees taken out of this. And these are how many coins I got after everything is said and done. Then I have the current price, right? So like current PPC, price per coin, right? And then the current value, and then the ROI. So I did all this, I think, last night. Yeah, I did all this last night. So I'm already down 5%. At one point, I was up 4% because Ethereum was doing some things. But I bought Ethereum a little bit higher. Yeah, I bought it at 1949 a coin, and I bought 2 whole coins. And now it's down to 1818. So it's like, oh, crap, I lost money, right? But nothing too crazy, and it's only been a couple hours, really, because I bought this like in the wee hours of the morning. Actually, almost getting close to 24 hours. So I'm doing all this, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to find a way to track this. In comes a new function. So the function I am using is Gecko Price. And with Gecko Price, I can actually say, okay, hey, listen, these are the items. It'll actually, like, I can select this as an array or select these cells here. And when I'm selecting these cells, it pretty much turns that into an array. And then it'll fill in all the price data down here. And then I convert it to USD. And then this right here where I choose like, this is argument number 3. That's weird. Oh, okay. So it takes 2 items, it says, but in the documents, there's something where you can, if you wanted to update these this formula or these prices, it does not automatically update. That's usually with any spreadsheet, and that's usually with any like Google Sheet. It will not automatically update. You're gonna have to write some type of code that will actually automatically run that stuff. Also with Google Docs, you do have limitations because of compute power, because there is some stuff that happens on the Google side and the Google servers themselves. Um, so if I wanted to update this price, I actually have to like update something else to make it recalculate. I have to update another field. So that's what this third parameter is. In my case, I made it to where it's like easy to use on my mobile device. As soon as I open up my spreadsheet in Google Sheets, the Google Sheets app, I can view this here, and I can go ahead and click on it. So I can scroll down here. All right. Here's the fancy stuff, guys. Watch it. Watch this section here. All right. And then I can go here. Click that. Starts loading. Goes out to the internet, interwebs, and now I got the updated price information. So I'm only losing I've only lost 7.5%, 51% on Ethereum so far, as opposed to 8. So I'm getting closer to the green. Look at that. Hey, making money, I think. So yeah, but this is really cool, and then I can just check it again and it'll make the change. Also, I have this other spreadsheet that I'm working on for crypto totals, and it actually totals everything, and this goes into my finance tracker. So I don't have to go through all of this. The biggest thing what I do here is I keep track of how many of each coins that I have, you know. So once I get all that, I just track all the balances, and then I have to figure out this whole graph here because I have a whole bunch of stuff that's going on with it in terms of it looking super shitty. Like I don't want it to graph this here. This looks like crap. So I'll have to figure that out and get that graphed right, and then I can add it to this front page here, maybe somewhere. But yeah, that's my second YOLO move. Let's actually go into the code of that. So if I can go to, extensions, and then app scripts or apps scripts. What does it say? Apps script. All right. Here, there's crypto balance, and this is the same guy that wrote this. So actually, I'll put that here if you guys want that. It'll actually look at the balance of a wallet. It'll actually go out. It'll actually go out and find the balance of a wallet. So that's really cool. So you give it a wallet address, it'll find the balance of said wallet. And that's really nice if you have somebody that's maybe, or not if somebody, but you have people that are sending you money or something like that via your BTC wallet. You put your address out there, you can actually track all that in a spreadsheet. And you can actually it does other things too. So like say crypto staking, the other one was you can actually get volume. Maybe I'm thinking about the other one. You can get the differences in prices too. So yeah, okay, maybe it's just this one. Yeah, there we go. Gecko change, Gecko by name. So this is where you can get the pricing data. So like the previous pricing data and then versus the new pricing data. But this one is really cool. So literally it's just copy and paste. You can change something here. So the expiration in seconds, you can actually change that value. Or that is a value that you probably should be changing depending on what you want to do. But this is where I need to write my own app and have this to where it does this on page load, or it does this automatically in the background and collects even more data for me in terms of pricing data and stuff like that, and then historical data based off of my own wallet, my own what's it called? My own wallet balances. So having that information there would be great to use. So the one that I'm actually using, I'm not using Crypto Balance. I probably will later. Can I? Okay, yeah. So I use CoinGecko.gs. So I guess that means like Google scripts or something like that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I changed this. At first it was 600. I'll change it back to that because I was just testing something. I was hoping it would automatically update, but I found the checkbox feature to be the best way to do this. and then you can actually put in your API key for CoinGecko if you have one. CoinGecko does have a free API that you can actually use, and it does have limitations on what you can do with it. But I can actually put in here. I'll probably put in my API key later. But yeah, it actually has all these functions. What it does, it actually just uses the built-in fetch, not library. It uses the built-in fetch module, I would say. Yeah, I guess module would be a decent enough word. So it uses the built-in fetch module to actually make API calls, so REST API calls, and then there's a couple more things here in terms of like, oh, is this a pro account for CoinGecko or not? You can see where you can actually edit this code if you ever needed to. So the version 3 of the API, maybe it gets to version 4, and you want to use that, and you can make some changes here. So that's really cool. I like that, I really do. But yeah, it just goes through all the different functions that it actually has. So Gecko 24-hour price change, you can get all that information. It parses all of that. We can see Richard Dixon would like that. That's where you're doing your spread operator. So you're using your spread operator to actually make all this, to actually, spread stuff. I never use a spread operator. So I won't even talk about that. But look up JavaScript spread operator. Actually, you could probably look at that here in a second. Spread operator. Oh wow, that's a cool picture. Hate board game concept and art. Interesting projects. So spread syntax. Spread allows an iterable, such as an array, expression, or string to be expanded in places where 0 or more arguments for functional calls or elements, or for array literals are expected, or an object expression to be expanded in places where 0 or more key value pairs for a subject or for object literals are expected. That was kind of confusing to me, but this is pretty cool. So numbers, and then expected output is 6. Oh, so it just adds all those. But I know with spread operators for JSON objects, it breaks out for those to where it breaks out those JSON objects where you can actually just use them by themselves or as their own, or is that destructuring? Anyways, I'll put this in there. I'm not really going to think about this because I do not use spread operators yet, but definitely something I'll probably have to read in the future. But yeah, I just noticed that, and that's something that I know Richard Dixon used in one of the projects that, or his one of his school projects. So yeah, this is really cool. So I mean, I look at this, and let's go ahead and save this. But if I save that, then I have to refresh the entire page, and then yeah, here we go. Cool. Also, I made this spreadsheet a little bit faster by taking my loan amortization table out that I used to have. Excuse me, that tracked my mortgage. But yeah, so YOLO Move 2, and this is how I'm actually tracking the YOLO Move to actually get better pricing data, more accurate pricing data, or up to the minute pricing data, so I can actually see either from my phone or anywhere else my journey to becoming a millionaire. I think I think Cardano will get to $1,000 coin. That'll be kind of cool, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the stream. We went over some coding and everything else like that, and the resume page is done. I'll upload all the changes here in a moment. I'm gonna chill out and enjoy the rest of my Friday night, and then get ready for. I got some housework to do tomorrow to try and even out my driveway, so I got to go buy gravel again and try and even that sucker out. It's been working pretty well so far, though. I think I got it down to where it's like, it's a noticeable difference in terms of the things that I'm doing or things I'm doing with this driveway, and it's making it better for the short period until I pay to get somebody else to do this stuff and get it done, quote unquote, right. But yeah, but definitely racking up some bills here, so gotta pay some stuff off. But with this new job, I'm able to do that, and I'm able to take advantage of the market by taking out the loan that I took recently. But that will be in another video coming soon. Also, the stock market is starting to rebound a little bit, so that's cool. Hey guys, as always, thanks for listening. Really appreciate you. If you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, you're low on sodium. Well, sodium is not good for your health, but it's definitely good for your mind. Verify, trust, but always verify. Verify some of the things that I've said. Trust me to bring you some information, but I wouldn't trust me to say that information is always correct. So if you guys do have any problems or things that you saw in this stream or any previous streams, just leave a comment. Those are always good and appreciated. I know there's not many comments. I talk enough to where I explain things, I think. But if you guys find to where there's something that I'm missing, please let me know. As always, thank you. Peace.